Welcome to Brain Health 101. This program is designed to help educate you and give you ideas for activities that can help keep your loved one's brain healthy. It's meant for persons that have been diagnosed with dementia. These activities are designed to be done together in order to maximize their brain health and engage you both. Look for the accompanying episode guide to help you navigate the activities in this program. I'm Dr. Greg Jica, and I'm a neurologist who focuses on taking care of patients with memory problems caused by diseases like Alzheimer's. I'm constantly searching for new ways to slow and/or stop memory problems in aging. I've been researching ways to promote healthy brain aging for almost 35 years now, as we continue to look for new medicines and potential cures for diseases like Alzheimer's. Regardless of your background, there's a lot you can do to care for your loved one and promote their brain health, in addition to their regular medical care and the medications we have. The activities featured in this program cover mental stimulation, social engagement, physical activity, healthy brain diets, and many other daily activities which can make a huge impact on their brain health. We hope you try some of these activities with your loved ones at home.
Hi there. Welcome to Brain Health 101. Today's episode is all about summer. Summer is a wonderful season full of many opportunities to get out of the house and enjoy outdoor activities. What are some of your favorite summertime activities? I enjoy being outside, feeling the warm sunshine on my skin, and just feeling the summer breeze makes me happy. I especially love being in my garden. Getting to put my fingers in the dirt and then getting to watch as plants spring up from the ground and grow is just amazing. Did you know that when we spend time in the sun, we are getting vitamin D, which is an important vitamin that both our bodies and our minds need? Always be mindful about how long you are spending time in the sun, and make sure you are taking precautions not to get a sunburn. Ouch! Part of why I love being in the garden are all the fresh herbs, fruits, and vegetables that I can grow. Fruits and vegetables, especially leafy greens, are an important part of a brain-healthy diet. It is important to remember that summer gardening can be hard work as we move our bodies and dig, rake, and till. Staying physically active is great for our bodies, but with all activities, it is important to remember some basic safety reminders.
Gardening is a wonderful activity for anyone. Young, old, and in between, gardening can be a great activity that provides purpose. When gardening with a person with moderate dementia, there are some safety tips to be mindful of. A person's balance can be affected, so you'll want to be cautious about uneven gardens and bending down and getting back up again. Raised garden beds or pots may be a better alternative. Stools and benches can be useful. Supervision may be required when your loved one is using tools such as hoes or spades, which can be sharp. You may want to switch to smaller handheld tools. Many summer plants require a lot of sunshine to grow. However, too much sun is not so good for us. Make sure to wear sunscreen and a wide-brimmed hat when gardening to protect yourself. You may find it better to garden early in the morning or late in the day to avoid too much sun exposure. If you keep safety in mind, your gardening efforts can be a rewarding experience for you and your loved one.
Those are good tips to know about. Gardening is not only a physical workout, but it can also be a mental workout as well. The planning that goes into building a garden takes time and dedicated thought. You have to consider the size and shape of each plant and where the best spot is for the plant to go. Does it need sun or shade? How does that fit with your plan? How much space do you have? Think about when plants will bloom and be ready to harvest as each plant grows. That is a lot to think about and talk about. Let's join our friends from the Extension Office to share some of their tricks and tips about gardening.
Hi, I'm Jamie Dockery, Fayette County Extension Agent for Horticulture, and we're here in one of our beautiful volunteer-maintained demo gardens at the Extension Office. This happens to be the vegetable garden. We have some flowers too. And I am here with one of our valued Master Gardener volunteers, and this is Cheri Fouts. I've asked Cheri to join us today because Cheri has a lot of experience and background in working with aging populations, but specifically people with dementia and Alzheimer's and things, and she's a gardening aficionado. So we want to share some tips about how little things and tricks and hacks you can utilize to make it a little easier and keep gardening longer. So Cheri, my mother is 88, fortunately does not have any memory issues, but she can't garden the way she used to. I suspect this is true of lots of people, and let's talk about some of these ideas you have that can keep people going a little longer in the garden.
Well, it isn't that she can't, since you say that she's physically able.
Right.
Is that she either can't do it the way she used to do it, and she's got 1,000 excuses. But
Exactly.
there's good reasons to garden, and one of the good reasons is because it gives you plenty of exercise,
Mhm.
it gives you vitamin D.
Yes.
Being outside, it gives you the ability to converse with neighbors or to converse with family, friends about different things that you're using, different things that you're growing. It is a sense of accomplishment.
Mhm.
It helps with depression, which is
Wonderful.
really a big problem with people that are of any kind of age. And if you have any kind of physical issues, you can work through those. So Jamie, as people get older, there's no reason for them to not garden. But there may be some adaptations they need to make as far as different kinds of plants.
What they grow.
Yeah.
And that's a very good point, because we're standing here in the vegetable garden, and quickly I can tell you everything that's here is not wildly successful every time, and some things are way more difficult and challenging than others. So everyone thinks vegetable garden, thinks corn and some of these other things. You're not likely to succeed with some of those more challenging crops. So some good, easy starter vegetables are things like root crops, carrots, radishes, turnips, things like that. Also tomatoes and peppers, although they do have some issues, those are one of the easiest things to grow, and you keep getting yield throughout the season. Bush beans will always be on my list of easily grown stuff, as are any greens that you can grow. The cabbages, the kale, there's some pest pressure you may have to worry about with butterflies and caterpillars, but just selecting the right vegetables that are easy to grow from that shorter list will help be successful too. Another thing, since we also mentioned flower gardens, the types of flowers you grow, I mean, some of the easiest annuals would obviously be things like marigolds, which you mentioned. They don't have to be deadheaded. There may or may not be, there's anecdotal information they get rid of some bugs, but I don't know how factual that is. But also annual flowers, marigolds would top my list. Also annual vinca is very
Away from
easy.
Petunias and things that need a lot of deadheading. a lot
Yes,
of care.
and things that are drought tolerant like lantana or like vinca are very useful as well. Another thing we could share with people, if you've been accustomed to doing a lot of annuals each year, you may want to consider converting some of that to perennials that come back each year. They have a much shorter bloom time than the annuals, but you don't have to replant every year. So that may be something to help people have less workload while still enjoying their garden and flowers.
And another one that I've gotten into a lot lately is succulents.
Oh yes.
Easiest plant to grow and to propagate. It's
And if
so
you,
successful, and they're so easy and so fun to grow. Anybody can do that, indoors, outdoors.
and they store their own water, so if you need to leave on vacation for 2 weeks, they'll still be alive when you get back.
And herbs.
Herbs are great. Almost all the herbs are super easy to grow and great butterfly and pollinator plants as well. I see you've brought lots of props and things we can talk about. Tell us about some of the things you've got here and how folks could use those to make life easier in the garden.
Okay. Brought a 5-gallon bucket when early on when I was gardening. I sometimes would get tired because I do have
Sure.
two types of arthritis.
Very handy.
Yep, everybody's got a 5-gallon bucket, so you tip it over and put it on the ground. You can use that in the garden to carry out your tools and also as a seat.
And I'm assuming this would help if we're seated, and this is also just a kneeling pad that can be used alone to cushion knees getting up and down.
I have a rock bed at our house, and I always sit on one of those, so it's a level that you can sit on, but it's not comfy.
Wonderful, and these would both be very inexpensive.
Right. This is a little bit more expensive. I think this is about 40 bucks. I actually found my first one that I ever had at like a Goodwill thrift store.
Right.
And you can actually use this two ways. You can sit on it like a chair.
Right, and I'm going to do this while you talk.
Yeah.
So
Like a chair, and that's quite comfortable.
nice, and then you could just work in front.
And that's the way I usually do it. Or if you are still good with your knees, I have artificial knees, so I can't do that so well. Put it down and kneel on it, and yeah.
Oh, that's
Nice
great.
cushion. And then the added support, the difference between that and the other pad is the fact that you've got handles to get up.
And that cushion under the knees is huge.
Yeah.
That's great.
But most of us have a problem getting up from the position on the ground.
Mhm.
So having that available is helpful. So,
Great.
yeah.
I see you've got some other specific tools that people might want to use.
Yeah, I think you need to work smarter,
Okay.
harder as you get older. And one of the things that I've noticed with arthritis is that I don't want to have tools that are thin and handles. I
Yeah.
want to have thicker handles.
Pardon me.
And if you don't have tools that are kind of ergonomically correct or thicker handles, which you can purchase, you can also adapt those. You can use a pool noodle and cut it and use it, go around the handle, tape it on with some duct tape and such, and
So
that just makes it a little easier.
We
for
would
you.
just split that and put it on the handle. Great.
And that gives you a little bit more cushion. And these are the small pool noodles,
Right.
not the big ones.
And those are easier to grip, and they also do a black pipe insulation at home improvement stores. That's a little squishier foam, and it's pre-split.
smaller.
Yeah,
But if you're short on cost, I mean, I know older folks are often dealing with fixed income.
sure.
So you need to be as economical as possible. So, but if you've got piping around at home, that even works better.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to grab something you shared with me that I had never thought of that I thought was fascinating.
There's two things there.
There are,
Yeah.
and I never would have guessed how you use these.
This is actually piping, like PVC pipe or plumbing or whatever. And this actually was part of a roping system I had at home. Rope went through there. But if I want to put seed in the ground, and these come in different widths, different diameters for different size seeds. But I can actually put a seed in the top of this directly where I want to put it without bending over.
That's
The things
wonderful.
You do in the garden, you are constantly bending over. If you can minimize that, if you have a bad back or bad hips or bad knees, it just is very helpful if you just move it, drop a seed.
And this looks like a vacuum attachment. Is
It
this
is.
similar?
It is. For instance, you could do the same thing by sitting in a wheelchair or on the seat and drop a seed, a larger seed. In
Oh,
fact.
if you're closer to the ground.
Yeah, so you can sit and do that as well. But anyway, that's just something everybody has at home. These, another thing, PVC pipes. Most people have some sort. This is actually a little longer, but you just put it more diagonally. And then this one might be entertaining.
Okay.
To people.
Oh,
Most people-
I know how this works.
Yeah. Most people, as they get older, know exactly what to do with this inside the home.
Yes.
But if you are out in the garden, you can use it. I use it to pick blackberries, frankly.
I can get that bug right
Yeah.
there.
Over the blackberries that I can reach easily to things I can't.
Those are very handy. What other tools here do you like that you wouldn't want to be without? And then we'll talk about some weather things and some clothing.
Definitely my knife.
Oh yes, these are wonderful.
I love those. These are my favorites. This I've had for about 10 years, you can tell, because it's pretty worn and pretty dirty. I use it all the time. But it has measurements on the side, so you can dig in and see how far down you need to measure. It'll cut things on this side, cut little vines and stuff that you're trying to get rid of, or seedlings or whatever.
I have one of these, and I've found sometimes that difficult root on the weed, this will slice right through it where something else would not.
Yep, I probably use this, or that's my new one. I probably use this more than any other tool going. I also like my beater here.
Oh, this is great. And I
Yep.
see you have two similar.
Yeah. If you're sitting, you can use this. You're just kind of clawing at the dirt with it, I guess, and it cuts. This is a sharp edge, and it cuts the weed, and it is absolutely amazing. I love this, probably the second best tool ever.
Well, and although they can cost a little more, There are many tools in the market that are specifically ergonomically made, so the handles might be a little bigger or they might work differently or at a different angle. But there are things like this that already exist that you can buy, but some of these at-home hacks are much less expensive, obviously.
Well, and you can take the yellow, this one. This is normal. You can get this anywhere. You can get them at the Dollar Tree even if you eat that. I'm not looking at the Dollar Tree. It's just if you're on a fixed income, that's a good place to go. But this is so small, the handle, that if you've got arthritis, it really hurts when you grip things. So to have a bigger handle is so much better. That's why if you can adapt it, or if you can afford to buy something that's a little bit more ergonomically correct, then do so.
And pool noodles would probably work on something like this as well.
Sure.
These perplex me. I know this is inexpensive.
Right.
What do you do with these?
We all have a hole in the ground in the yard made by something you
Like a
dug up.
trip hazard?
Oh yeah. If you're older, what you need, even if you're not.
Right.
Or anybody. We tend to trip in the hole, step in the hole caused by a rodent or caused by our own self, pulling up something and not filling it back in immediately. I just put these in the garden to keep away birds sometimes from different things that I don't want them to mess with. But I also use them to plant in the ground. And I know when I come around that plant or that area that that's something I need to be cautious about.
And it's very easy to see and spot.
And you don't want to keep finding that same hole 10 times before you
Sure.
put it in. I also use the tape. This tape is about $2.50. It's not much. A large roll. You can use it. It's very stretchy. You can put it on tomato plants. It doesn't hurt the tomato plants at all. And anyway, you can tie things up and give them support. But also I use it in the garden to kind of rope off things.
Absolutely.
So that I can make sure that this is an area I was telling you earlier, I might wall off my asparagus so that it doesn't get accidentally.
Or flop over.
Yeah.
Great.
So it does support, but it also lets you know, where something is that you need to not mow over.
Well,
Folks not familiar with your yard.
as we're standing out in this heat and I'm sweating, I'm also thinking about all the tips we can share about proper hydration. I mean, obviously, whatever you're doing, that's important.
Absolutely, yep. I've got mine.
Got yours?
Yep. I keep mine in my back pocket, but this is just a bag that you carry your tools out with you. It just saves the extra mileage going in and out.
Oh, I'm in and out all day long.
You keep it in a 5-gallon bucket or a bag, do whatever to keep your amounts of time you have to move.
Sure.
Less. Always have something like water available to you. You also, I would suggest, if you're in the garden and you're older, I would suggest keeping your phone with you. I have it in my pocket.
Absolutely.
A phone or a whistle or I don't know, cowbell, anything. Some sort of way to get in touch with our neighbors so that we can get help if we need it.
I know from my mother, some of that generation don't love the cell phone and aren't accustomed to drink, so I'm nagging all the time.
So put it in your pocket or use a fanny pack of some sort.
You've got
Keep that.
several different gloves. Talk to me about this kind of thing.
Okay, well, if I'm going to do something a little bit more, I don't know, for me, working with, like the other day, I did some cactus work.
Yes.
And this was a little thicker glove, so I used these to transplant my cactus. These might be the lighter ones that I use most of the time in the greenhouse. And then these also are kind of light. There's some over there that I showed you.
Oh,
that are especially
I
nice.
love these because they're so spongy.
These are great because they have sort of a rubbery a palm is rubbery, and what happens is when you hold on to any kind of tool, the grip is so good, you're not going to drop it. And if you already have problems with bending or getting up, the last thing you want to do is continually bend over to pick things up that you drop. So this is a nice rubberized padding that'll keep things in your hand, and that's important.
Those are all wonderful tips. I also want to talk about a couple of other things that aren't so directly related to gardening, but you had mentioned earlier while we were preparing for this, the importance of just being outside. If you're a caregiver, even if the person can't help in the garden, there's benefit to being out on a bench, for example, or somewhere nearby so they can remain engaged and ask questions and things like that. The other
it's important for that person with dementia or any kind of dementia to be outside and involved. And if they perhaps are not cognitively able to do what you're able to do
Sure.
as a caregiver, just having them in the yard is a good thing.
Well, and I also know that in my mother's instance, she can't do everything she used to do, but we're learning to scale down and to shrink the area of garden she maintains and stuff. And on that same note, even at my age, anybody who gardens, the community around gardening, whether it be sharing produce with a neighbor, there's engagement and there's community building, and relationships are so important, particularly among aging people who, well, quite frankly, where it's easy to just stay home and not engage. So I think gardening can be a ticket to all of that, keeping conversations going and keeping friends engaged.
It's a great conversation starter. And if you go to farmer's market, maybe you don't garden, but you go to farmer's market, just talking to people who are growing things.
Yes.
And talking about what you used to grow and how you used to grow things, that's important. I don't really see many instances where you can't garden to some extent. Container gardening, raised beds, can be anything from 2 inches off the ground to something that is waist high, and I have mine are waist high.
I have seen amazing models you can get or build that are wheelchair accessible, where there might be like a tabletop of soil you can roll right up to and stuff. So all of those things, containers, just putting stuff in a large pot. As a horticulturist, I would share that small pots will wear you out in terms of watering, but a really large container, something 2 feet across, is a very reasonable size for like a large tomato plant or something that's going to drink a lot of water. So just thinking about what we grow in, how we grow, and just realizing, I think, the appreciation that we don't have to give up something so important to me. It's breaking my mother's heart to scale down, but I don't think she'll ever stop, no matter what the challenge.
Because it does help with anxiety, it helps with depression. There's just something amazing about being outside besides the physical nature with the sun and just the fresh air and stuff. But it is, I said earlier, nothing like going out in the garden and seeing a yellow squash.
Well, and we've all seen recent research that point out the benefits of just being in nature, being in green spaces, and even just hearing the birds and insects this morning. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Cheri, thanks for being with us today and sharing all these wonderful tips. I hope we shared some stuff that caregivers or people who have some issues of their own or are just getting older will help them to realize they can keep doing what they love, just maybe in a different manner or on a slightly smaller scale.
I think it's great. Get out and garden.
Those were some great ideas. Gardens can be a great source of nutrients for us, as fruits and vegetables are full of antioxidants and other important nutritional compounds that are essential for our brain and body's health. Fresh fruits and vegetables are great, but if you don't have access to a garden or fresh produce, don't worry. Canned or frozen options work great too and still provide nutritional benefits. Besides spending time in my garden, I also enjoy being with friends and family, and nothing is better than a summer potluck. There are so many wonderful summer dishes you can explore. From the fresh fruit like watermelon and berries, to the salads and casseroles, the possibilities are endless and delicious. Let's take a look at how our expert chef creates a summer classic, the pasta salad. Maybe it will be what you take to your next get-together.
Hi, I'm Batey, a registered dietitian and the program coordinator of the Food Health Alliance at the University of Kentucky. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a quick and easy Southwest pasta salad. We're going to be using fiber-rich whole wheat pasta, adding some black beans and corn, as well as a homemade lime cilantro dressing. It's going to come together very quickly and be both nutritious and delicious. I'm just going to start with an 11-ounce can of corn and a 15-ounce can of black beans. And I'm going to give these both a quick rinse just to remove some of the excess starch and sodium. Then I'm going to add a 15-ounce can of diced fire-roasted tomatoes. Now, I wouldn't normally drain canned tomatoes, but because we're going to have a homemade dressing, I don't want my pasta salad too watery. So I'm just going to let these drain for a couple of minutes while I go work on my dressing. While my veggies drain, I'm going to whisk together a quick Southwest dressing. I'm starting with half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to add a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Here I've got a 1/4 teaspoon each of some onion powder and garlic powder. Then just a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. I've got about a 1/4 cup of finely chopped cilantro. Some people love cilantro, some people hate it. I happen to love it, but you could certainly leave it out if you don't like it. And then I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of lime juice, which is about the juice of 1/2 of a lime, depending on how ripe your lime is. You may have to use the whole lime, but I think this one's pretty good. Now, I'm just gonna whisk this all up and get it nice and incorporated. Then I'll set it aside until I need it to finish up my pasta salad. Now it's time to mix it all together. To start, I have my half a box of cooked whole wheat pasta that I drained and let cool for a few minutes. Now I'm gonna add all of my veggies. Now, this pasta salad would certainly be delicious with whatever fresh vegetables you wanted to add. I've tried it with diced bell pepper, diced jalapeno, fresh tomatoes. It's really whatever you prefer, but today I didn't feel like doing any chopping. Last but not least, I'm gonna add that homemade Southwestern lime dressing. Store-bought salad dressings can be really high in sugar and sodium, so I tend to make my own when I can. They're really easy. You just need olive oil and some sort of acid. In this case, we used red wine vinegar and that fresh lime juice. So now that I've got it all incorporated, I'm gonna put it in the fridge for at least an hour, but then it's ready to go. As long as you store it in an airtight container with a lid, this will keep in the fridge for 3 or 4 days.
I am really getting hungry now. Pasta salads are always versatile, so feel free to alter the ingredients any way that you would like. Maybe even try something new. Spending time in the kitchen doing something new or spending time with others is never a bad thing. Summertime calls for us to be outside and to be active, which is great for our bodies and our minds, but we must be mindful of how the sun and the heat affect us. It is very easy to become overheated during the summer months. Choosing to wear loose white clothing can help, and drinking plenty of water or other hydrating beverages is an essential part to any brain health activities. It can be hard to remember to stay hydrated anytime, but especially in the summer. Let's hear from an expert who shares some tips on how to stay hydrated.
As dementia progresses, the person may not realize they are thirsty and can become dehydrated. As you care for your loved one, make it a priority to help them stay hydrated. Offer fluids throughout the day that are not filled with sugar or caffeine. This will help them stay hydrated longer. Flavoring water with a little fruit juice may help if they do not like the taste of water. Sugar-free popsicles and jellos are also good, especially in summer months. Summer fruits like melons are flavorful and can also help. They are made up of as much as 92% water. Warm, caffeine-free teas, such as green tea, can also help with hydration. Eating and drinking with your loved one, rather than singling them out, can be helpful too. Sit down with them on the patio and have a refreshing glass of something together.
Did you know that when we get moving, our heart starts pumping more, and that causes more oxygen to go to our brain? With the increase in oxygen to our brain, you might start to notice it is easier to concentrate and focus. Staying active is a great way to boost our brains. We have invited some of our friends to share some exercises with us. We will focus on therapy-based activities that can promote our brain and body's health. Join in and try some of these activities.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Rhodus. I'm an assistant professor in the Sanders Brown Center on Aging at the University of Kentucky, as well as the Department of Behavioral Science within the College of Medicine. I'm also a licensed occupational therapist, and the work that we're going to be discussing in today's session revolves around some of the work that I have used and techniques that we've used with people with cognitive impairment across the lifespan, not just in older adults or their care partners, but children as well and adolescents. The techniques that we'll talk about today are going to help decrease stress, anxiety, and improve your overall functioning and brain health. In fact, the work that we're going to be talking about, including breath work and body stretches, are evidence-based approaches to improve brain health. We're going to be joined by Celeste Roberts, the Research Program Manager in the Engaged Aging Lab at Sanders Brown Center on Aging, also an occupational therapist. For a brief overview of today's session, we're going to be talking about and doing some exercises with breath work. We're also going to be showing you some different exercises that you can do in a seated position to stretch your muscles in your upper body and your back, and as well as your neck. I'll give you a few tips and hints throughout the way, and we're going to conclude with a 4-minute guided meditation to help you really feel the deep breathing and the mindfulness and what the impact can be from these different stretches and things. As we breathe throughout the day, we don't typically think about it. We just breathe in and we breathe out. It happens all day long. But evidence actually shows that when we are intentional about breathing and thinking about our breath, we can actually improve our brain health. We can feel calmer and have lower anxiety. I'm going to talk to you today about a couple different techniques that can improve your breath work so that you can have lower stress, lower anxiety, feel calmer. The techniques that we talk about can actually lower your blood pressure. They've also been shown to improve brain health. The first topic of the 3 that I'm going to tell you about is the idea of pursed-lipped breathing. When we're thinking about how we breathe in, our nose actually has a small filter on the inside that will filter out different particles throughout the air. So it's ideal that we're breathing in through our nose. We're then going to breathe out through our mouth. Some people say you can drop your jaw and just kind of breathe out like you're fogging out a window. That's one technique. Another technique is to breathe out with pursed lips so that the air is coming out like you're blowing out birthday candles or you're trying to blow up a balloon. This slows down the amount of air coming out and can lower your anxiety. So I want you to breathe in through your nose like you're smelling the flowers. And then I want you to breathe out through your mouth like you're blowing out birthday candles. In through your nose, smelling candles. Out through your mouth like you're blowing out birthday candles. The next element of breath work is pace. Some people really enjoy a technique called box breathing. That's when you breathe in for a count of 3, you hold for a count of 3, you breathe out for a count of 3, and you hold for another count of 3 before you take another breath. Box breathing has been shown to lower anxiety. It's a great technique. It takes lots of thought and practice until you get the hang of it. Another technique that I think is a little bit easier and that you can do often is the idea of breathing out for twice as long as you breathe in. So we're going to practice today with breathing in for a count of 2 and breathing out for a count of 4. So I want you guys to think about breathing in through your nose for a count of 1, 2, breathing out through your mouth with pursed lips for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. In, 1, 2, out, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 2 more. In for 1, 2, out, 1, 2, 3, 4. In and out. Great, good work. The third element that I want to talk to you about, breath work, is the posture and the muscles that we're using to breathe. A lot of times when people breathe, they use the small muscles in between their ribs called the intercostals. That expands the chest and pulls it back together. So you expand to breathe in, you pull it back in to breathe out. But there's another muscle that's a very large muscle in our body at the bottom of our lung cavity called the diaphragm. The diaphragm, when it's activated, actually will create a vacuum through the entire lung cavity so that you're able to maximize the surface area of your lungs that exchange the gases with oxygen as you're breathing. So we're going to actually use our lungs more efficiently if we activate our diaphragm. The diaphragm also turns on the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is known to help you feel more relaxed and calm. It lowers your blood pressure, can lower your heart rate and your oxygen, increase your oxygen saturation, and lower your breathing rate. So if you think about rest and digest, that's your parasympathetic nervous system at work. It helps you feel relaxed and lets your body be in a non-stress state. So to practice diaphragmatic breathing, I want you to put one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach. When you breathe in, ideally the hand on your chest doesn't move. When you breathe in, the hand on your stomach is going to go out towards the middle of the room. And when you breathe back out, the hand on your stomach is going to go in towards your spine. This is really tricky at first and takes lots of practice. So another way that you can practice if you want at another time is to lay flat on the bed, put a Kleenex box or the remote on your stomach, and practice until you breathe in and watch that box go up, and then when you breathe out, the box goes down. But right now, I want you guys to get nice and tall or comfortable in your chair, feeling nice and strong in your shoulders and your back. You're going to put one hand on your chest, one hand on your stomach. You're going to breathe in through your nose for a count of 1, 2. You're going to breathe out through your mouth, and you're going to squeeze your stomach back in. As you breathe in, your hand on your stomach goes out. You expand your stomach. Now you breathe out and pull your stomach back in. Let's give that 3 tries. You're going to breathe in for 1, 2. Breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Think about your muscles. You're going to breathe in for 1, 2. Breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in for 1, 2. Out for 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you conclude this breathing work or breath work session, I want you to walk away with 3 key points. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, like you're smelling the flowers and blowing out 100 birthday candles. I want you to think about pace, how fast you're breathing, how long you're breathing out. Do you like the box technique? Do you like breathing out a little slower than you breathe in? The third element is, what muscles are you using to help you breathe? Are you using your chest, or are you really activating that diaphragm called diaphragmatic breathing? These are different techniques that are proven and evidence-based to improve brain health and help your body. Now that we've talked a little bit about breath work and our breathing, I want you to keep practicing that in the background as we continue on to our stretches. Stretching is very important because our muscles and our joints have different neurons within them that really activate a sensory system throughout our entire body. When we say sensation or sensory input, we think about hearing, breathing, taste, touch. Those are easy. What we don't typically think about is one of the really important sensations called proprioceptive input. When our muscles get stretched or our joints have pressure, we have proprioceptive sensation to our brain. Proprioceptive input is actually one of the most calming and regulating sensations for our entire nervous system. If you think about the baby in the utero, The nervous system is developing at its very most innate states, right? It's building a brain. It's surrounded by fluid and under constant pressure. Our nervous system really likes pressure. Once that baby's born, our mother's or a parent's natural instinct to help calm that baby is to swaddle it up tight. We're gonna wrap that baby up in a nice warm blanket to help that baby feel calm and safe. It mimics the feeling of being in the womb, surrounded by pressure, surrounded by fluid. I'm not gonna encourage you guys to swaddle yourselves today, but I do wanna tell you about some different techniques that we can do. When we're thinking about our breath work and how we're feeling, a lot of times we'll have tension or we'll just hold our muscles in specific states and we don't even realize it. So when we think about our stretches, it's important to know that it's calming to our nervous system, but it's also good for brain health. The evidence in the science has shown that just 15 minutes a day of stretching can significantly improve the brain function in important areas of your brain for memory, like the hippocampus, as well as the emotional states like the amygdala and different areas that are really going to help us feel calm and relaxed. We can also see through the evidence that just 15 minutes a day of stretching actually changes the gene expression at the cellular level of what's happening inside of our body. So we think about, we'll do some yoga, we'll do some stretches, but this is actually critical to how our bodies are functioning all the way to the cellular level. When we're doing our stretches, I want you to think about the feelings and the sensations. When I talk about feelings, I'm really talking about what does it feel like in your body. The more that we're aware of how our body feels, the more brain growth we can actually have. This element of thinking about how our body feels when we're stretching and breathing is called mindfulness. We think about the sensation of what does the breath sound like as it's coming in? What does the pressure of our body in the chair feel like? That's mindfulness. Mindfulness is another technique, or thinking about these sensations is another technique to improve anxiety, improve stress levels, help you feel calmer, and also all the way down to the cellular level of improving your health. So let's go through a few different stretches that you can do from your home in a chair. I want us to start with our hands. A lot of times we'll clench our hands when we're stressed, and there's a bunch of tiny little muscles in our hands. So when we open our hands and kind of wiggle our fingers, you can do one tight squeeze and then a release, one more tight squeeze and then a release, give it one more wiggle. Now we're gonna rest our hands with palms facing up on our knees. There's actually a little neuroscience behind resting with our palms up. When we rest with our palms up, it naturally releases endorphins, the feel-good chemicals in our brain. We actually can lower our stress and feel happier just by sitting with our palms up facing the sky. If you think about when you're upset with someone and you want to tell them no, you often push them away with a hand down. But when you greet someone, you often greet them with a palm up. It's natural human instinct to be open and happy with your palms up. So now that we're resting with our palms nice and loose and facing the ceiling, I want us to turn our attention to our neck. A lot of times we hold our stress in our shoulders and our trapezius muscles within our neck. So I want us to think about loosening those up. You're going to kind of roll your shoulders back. You're going to gently bring one ear towards your shoulder. So let's take our left ear towards our left shoulder. Celeste is going to show you the full range of motion, and I'm going to show you a modified version. If you have arthritis or anything that causes you discomfort, do not push to the point of discomfort or pain. We want to make sure that this doesn't cause you any discomfort whatsoever. So let's do it again. We're going to stretch our ear towards our shoulder. Once you're here, you can gently pull down using your side muscles, pull down on the right side. So you're actually dropping your right shoulder as you're pulling your ear towards your left shoulder. Let's pull it back to the middle. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. You're going to bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Again, don't go past the point of pain or discomfort. Come back to the middle. Let's go back down and pull your left shoulder down towards the floor. Sometimes, if you're feeling spunky, you can take your hand and pull your shoulder or pull your head towards your shoulder and really drop the opposite shoulder. You get a really good stretch that way. Again, don't push past the point of pain. These are some easy stretches that you can do every day, anytime, morning, afternoon, night. They really help help your body know we're becoming a non-stress state. So we have our hands set, our neck is kind of loose. Let's think a little bit about our shoulders. Our shoulders are loose like our hips. So it's really important that we protect the integrity of our muscles and our joints in the shoulder. I have several different joints in there. So again, don't go past the point of discomfort. But pushing up towards the ceiling is a nice, good stretch. You can go, Celeste is gonna show you full range. I'm gonna go halfway. If you can go all the way, go up there, breathe in through your nose. As you breathe out, bring your hands back down. Let's do that again. You can go straight up or you can go up through the side. We're gonna breathe in, push up. Feel that stretch through your body and breathe back out and pull down. Perfect. Some people like to go up to the side. I'm going to show you another stretch for your shoulders. This one's a little tricky. You're going to bring both hands, you're going to lace your fingers and bring them behind your head. The natural instinct is to lean forward, but that's what we want to push against. Excuse me, Celeste. You're going to pull your body back and try to look up towards the ceiling. My body's cricking and cracking back here. You're going to come back in, release a little bit, just stay in this spot. And we're going to go again. As you pull back and look up towards the ceiling, think about the release in your shoulders, squeezing your shoulder blades together and loosening up those intercostal muscles throughout your ribs. Take a good deep breath in and slowly come back out of the position as you breathe out. Great. I'm going to show you one more stretch. This is a side to side stretch. I do not want you to fall out of your chair. Do not fall into the floor. So I want you to make sure that you're sitting fully firmly in your chair. If you have arm supports, that's great. If you lose your balance, don't do this stretch. Your feet are flat on the floor. We're going to stretch across our body and lean to the side. You're going to take one arm. I'm going to show you a modified version. Celeste is going to show you full range of motion. We're going to lean to one side until the point that you feel stretch on the side of your body. Breathe in. As you breathe out, come back down. We're going to do that one more time. Breathe in. As you breathe out, pull back down. We're going to go the opposite direction. So bring your arm up, cross, lean, feel the stretch on your body. Think about what those joints and muscles feel like. As you breathe out, pull back in. Let's do it one more time. Breathe in and stretch. Oh, that feels great. Now pull it back down. Good. Fantastic. So we've talked about stretching your hands, the importance of those muscles in your hands and keeping them loose and open, pointing up to the ceiling. Stretching your neck, stretching your shoulders and your back, and stretching your spine, your lower spine at the hips. I'll give you one quick tagline that I like to tell patients. This idea that our joints, they all have fluid that help them move. And when we're not moving our joints as much as we should, the fluid can kind of dry up. So the more we move the joints, the more the fluid develops and creates. Motion is lotion for our joints. Literally, the more that we move them, the looser they're going to stay. When we live with our arthritis, those joints can kind of become crunchy and the fluid can dry up quickly. But even with arthritis, the more that you move, the looser the joints become. These first couple stretches that you might do could be a little bit painful or a little bit sore. Do not push past soreness or pain, but the more you do them, the easier they should get because motion is lotion. So far in today's session, we've covered a lot of work. We've talked about breathing and the importance of breath work throughout our day. We've talked about stretching and how stretching can really help our nervous system feel calm and regulated and at peace. We've also talked about this idea of mindfulness, thinking about the sensations coming in and really being at peace with how your body's feeling. We're going to conclude today's session with a 4-minute guided meditation that's been written by Tara Brock and it's been published in the New York Times. For this meditation, I want you to find a comfortable place. And once you're ready, if you feel safe, please go ahead and close your eyes. If you'd prefer to keep your eyes open, soften your gaze. Coming into a stillness and feeling the simplicity of your body breathing. Take in a nice, full, deep breath now. Extending the breath, feeling the chest and the lungs. Slowly breathe out. Feeling the sensations of releasing the breath, relaxing outward, and letting go. And again, breathing in, filling the chest and the lungs. Slowly breathe out, releasing, letting go of tension, thoughts, and worry. One more time, inhaling deeply, filling the chest and the lungs. Slowly breathe out, relaxing outward and letting go. And allowing the breath now to resume in its natural rhythm, relaxing with the inflow and the outflow. Begin to gently scan down the body, starting at the top, relaxing the brow, letting it be smooth, softening your eyes, letting the jaw unhinge and relaxing the tongue down, letting the shoulders fall away from the neck, and feeling the shoulders from the inside out, feeling a dissolving sensation like ice to water and water to gas. Letting the hands rest in an easy and effortless way, softening the hands, feeling from the inside out, a play of sensation. Letting the chest be open, the heart relaxed, sensing an openness to the chest, softening the belly, letting this next breath fill the belly. And this breath, and now this one. Relaxing deep in the torso, feeling the length, the volume of the legs, feeling the sensation inside your feet. And then widening the lens to sense this whole body as a field of sensation, including an arising and passing of sound. Sensing in a relaxed and gentle way the movement of the breath, this background of aliveness, resting in an awake, relaxed presence. Take another deep breath in, and as you exhale, bring your attention back to the feeling of sitting in your chair and open your eyes. We have talked about so much today. I hope that you guys leave today's session with a few techniques and think about the opportunity anytime throughout the day to take a good deep breath, to feel the stretches and the movements of your body, and be very mindful of what it feels like, all of the sensations coming in and going out. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us for the session today. We've covered a lot of groundwork, and I'm excited for you all to take away these important tips and techniques. My name is Elizabeth Rhodus, and I'm faculty at Sanders Brown Center on Aging. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you'd like to discuss any of this content further, or if you have any questions. The information to contact Sanders Brown will be coming up next. Again, thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to talking to you in the future.
That was great. I already feel more focused than before. I hope this has given you some good ideas of things you can do to boost your brain. Research has been looking at combining exercise, mental stimulation, as well as a healthy diet as ways to help manage health-related conditions. One study that looked at some of those multimodal lifestyle interventions as it relates to brain health was the finger study out of Finland. The study showed that a combined approach was beneficial for brain health. We hope that you will also find benefits and possibly adopt some of the activities we have talked about today. It is also important that we take time to talk about the importance of developing a plan to meet your healthcare needs. This is critically important for you and your loved ones. Creating a care plan when someone you care about has memory and thinking problems can make a positive difference in their life and in the lives of those who care about them. Let's take a break from summer activities to learn more about how to go about creating a care plan for someone with memory and thinking problems.
Creating a care plan is a vital part of ensuring that you and your loved one are getting the full scope of services that are available to you. Medicare now has a billing code, CPT 99483, that allows you to receive care planning services. When meeting with your doctor's office, time should be given to prepare this care plan. The plan should reflect an assessment of the medical condition, management of any symptoms, referrals for managing caregiver stress, behavior and safety management, support needs, and referrals to community-based support services, in-home care, and legal and financial assistance. It can also include referrals for things like physical therapy, adult day programs, and driving evaluations. This care plan must be written and discussed with the patient and caregiver and can be updated as needed because services needed throughout the course of the disease process will change over time. Documenting and sharing this care plan with a person's medical providers simplifies communication. A care plan is a good tool to ensure you and your providers are on the same page for your medical journey.
What great and important information. Now you can start making sure you have a care plan in place when you need it. Advanced planning can and should be done throughout the year. Know that you can review or change your care plan as needs and circumstances change. It is always important to keep your care plan up to date. We hope that you have enjoyed this episode of Brain Health 101. We hope that you will find ways to be safe and enjoy all the wonderful activities that summer can bring.